computer. And away we go. Welcome to Casual Fridays. I have the wonderful Denise and the amazing Brienne with me today. And we're just going to have a cup of coffee and talk about what the hell's going on in the world. But before we do that, I'd love each of you to give your introductions, who you are, and why are you on this call? Brienne, why don't you start? Who are you and why are you on this call?
So I am Brianna Riley, mom of two kids, one dog, I guess, you know, she counts too.
Oh.
I worked in communications with Adam at Appreciato a few years ago now. And yeah, on the call to catch up and see what's new and what's happening.
I know, I'm so glad you are, because I miss you and we need to do a coffee after this in person. With or without
we're birthday twins.
It's your birthday on Wednesday?
No, we're birthday twins too.
Oh, that's right. We're both born in December. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not wait that long. We'll do it before.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Denise.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Thanks, Adam. I'm Denise Summers, and my company's M4 Communications, and I'm a local business storyteller and communications consultant in Calgary. And I've never met Adam in person. We were connected through a mutual colleague and had a great virtual coffee a while ago and just catching up again.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here, Denise, because we've got some things started, and I think we're just getting on the path together. So I'm looking forward to what kind of adventure and trouble we get in together.
Right.
This might be
I'm always up for trouble, so.
Very good. That's really good. I didn't know I had two communication experts on the today. So, I think people are going to get a ton of benefit from this. Hey, so my first question to get us started is July. It's basically over. We're 7 months into 2020. It just keeps getting weirder, whether we're talking about weather patterns or, should we return to work or not? Should we wear a face mask or not? Should we, throw a party or not? Like what's going on in your world? Either, the last 7 months or July, or what's going on there? What is going on? I've been on 24 days of vacation, so I'm trying to plug back in. Help me plug back in.
For me, the summer is going smoother than the school year did. Turns out I am not a teacher. Shocker. And I'm definitely not a French teacher. So yeah, the summer is much smoother in my house. My kids are, they have a skateboard now and a scooter, and they've made friends with other kids on the street, and they are outside gone, except come in for snacks and pee breaks, which is lovely for me trying to work at home. And I've been at home since February working.
Wow.
Because I had shoulder surgery right before all of this started. And, Adam, you know me, I am very social, and Kevin has come home a few days and been like, "Oh, I think you need to get out, hon. Like, you're losing it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I know. Like, get me out of here."
Good for you.
So,
well,
yeah.
I'm glad it's going smoother than school. And I can't imagine, right, where they talk about kids homeschooling or through virtual and parents working from home. There's a reason we don't at least as a parent of four, I couldn't coexist with my 4 kids on that level.
No.
There would be mental health issues all over the place. And you can only pour so much alcohol on it before that becomes destructive.
Yes. Before it starts to impact your work.
Right? Denise, what's been going on for you July, summer 2020?
I can't even imagine trying to homeschool and work, and my kids are grown and so grateful for that, except one of them lives in Toronto. So I don't, she was here actually just a couple of weeks ago. So that was wonderful because I hadn't seen her since the end of last year. And, but I can't imagine trying to work and homeschool and deal with all of this. And it's been, I work from home normally. I've worked from home for the past 15 years, so that wasn't a big adjustment for me. What's really been a big adjustment is the amount of Zoom calls that I've been on. I'm exhausted by the end of the day, and it takes a lot of energy. And I also started these COVID Chronicles a couple months ago, where I'm interviewing business owners, and that's I find doing the interviewing and so on. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm passionate about it, but it's very tiring. Being the virtual world, I find, takes a lot of energy. I think because you have to try and read body language, and it's much more challenging, and so that's kind of one of the things I've noticed.
Do you find it weird, the number of people that are using like fake backgrounds in Zoom meetings?
Yeah, I don't like
I've had so many people now that I'm like, but you're not on a beach. Like, what does your house look like that you
I don't want to clean up and show you, Brianne. And as you just noticed, my wife, you can see that office door. So you saw the shadow walk by, or maybe she pokes her head in because she has to tell me right now a piece of news. She knows I'm doing this, and I can't have the background up to block her out.
Yeah.
And so she comes in. Our daughter got sick, like with a cold, but because we didn't know what it was, we were like, well, you gotta go get tested. She's 18 years old, and she's been quarantined in her bedroom since Sunday. So she is freaking ricocheting off the walls right now. We just got word just now, fresh off the presses, she's negative.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. So the next thing you see is a vapor trail blazing out the door. That's my daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for
your youngest is 18 now?
Pardon me?
Your youngest is 18 now?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, I'm almost in Denise's camp.
Yeah. And that's actually a weird thing when they take off and it's your last one. And I found that was a really interesting time in my life. It was, I really grieved for a while.
I get it. I've had 2 already leave home. I have a 3rd leaving on September 1st. Yeah. And he told us while we were on vacation I think we got the news when we were in Ucluelet, Tofino. And he said he was so gentle about it. He's very emotionally in tune. And he's the 3rd of 4. And he's like, I've been thinking about and kind of wondering, and Kevin and Jackson and I have been in talk, and September 1st, I think there might be an opportunity for me to, go live with them. And are you okay with that? And I could feel it right there, Denise. Both my wife and I looked at each other and had that little tear show up, like, oh my God, another one's leaving.
No.
Yeah. And, as opposed to, I remember when they were young, and I was like, holy shit, we got to get away from them.
Oh. Yeah, especially girl teenagers.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, Brianne, you got a whole. You're so lucky. You're so lucky.
I don't know. Nicholas is definitely more draining right now than Cameron is, but I do think the tables will turn.
I had a boy and a girl as well, and I found my son more challenging when he was younger, and not as challenging as a teenager. And my daughter, I once said to a friend, I can't wait for her to go to university, so that we can have a normal relationship again. And my friend whose daughter was younger said, that's a terrible thing to say. Yeah. But that's exactly what happened.
Nicholas has really perfected his eye roll in these last few months. And I'm like, wow, okay. We're 7 going on 15. Awesome.
Yeah.
Whereas Cameron is, she's 2 or 3 now, and she thinks she's awesome. And she tells you that all the time. I'm awesome, Mom. I'm like, good. I hope you keep that confidence level and you keep thinking you're awesome. But she also thinks she should be able to do everything and anything that her brother does. And like, we went to the skate park earlier this week, and she went down into like the bottom part where all the kids are doing jumps and stuff on her little like 3-wheeled scooter, right? And I had to go around and like, Cameron Ray O'Reilly, you get out of there right now. And she turns to me and she's like, no, I'm a big kid and I can do it too. And I was like, no, out, no. But she generally, she goes with the flow a lot easier at this point. But I think, yeah, that attitude, it's coming out now. And when she's a teenager, we're in trouble. Kevin's like, maybe we just send her to boarding school.
I was just going to say that there's always boarding school.
Yeah.
That's all. Can you imagine doing employee reviews or working with team members, and they were allowed the freedom to say, listen, we can sit here and talk about, but I'm freaking awesome.
I'm awesome.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. This has been a fabulous experience. I'm super awesome. And I got a few comments about you, but other than that.
Yeah, turn the tables. So.
I don't know. I think that'd be all right. Right now, like, I manage a team of 8, I think we're at. And I have a couple people that are, and I mean, they're newer to the team, so that's always a hard piece, but it's easier to coach the confident people to hold, like, just press pause for a minute and let's check, than it is to push the people who I'm like, no, you know the answer. Just go, come on, do it. Like,
yeah.
I think it's, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what I think about kids in the same regard. I think I feel the opposite there.
They are an amazing backdrop.
Yeah. Who are you with, Brianne?
I work for the Petro LMI division of Energy Safety Canada. So we do labor market forecasting work.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that would be interesting.
It is. It's very diverse. It's not, I mean, right now it's a lot of forecasting job losses, which isn't always fun, but we do a lot of like occupational profiling stuff, and we're doing some work with career transitions. And so if you're an engineer, lots of people don't understand necessarily what their skill sets are to be able to transition somewhere else.
Right.
And so we're developing like cool VR games and stuff where people can get to test out different work environments and different like skill development games, I guess, and then they learn more about what their strengths are. It's like a different take of those, like the DISC program and stuff like that.
That sounds really interesting.
It'll be really cool.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. We got funding through the Future Skills Center, so they do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I've been using reality to do that. I when I terminate something, I go and just create something else and see if I can do it or not.
I like it.
You know, sometimes it's worked out. Other times it's just scared the shit out of me, my wife, the people. You know, it's freaked it out. You had your own transition, Denise, as you and I talked, right? As you came from where you were into what you are now and how that's evolved. And there had to be some, they weren't virtual experiences, but I know you shared with me a couple stories about, because I asked, how did you get to being where you are and working from home and in this creation of helping people tell their stories?
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, my background's communications and PR, and I started out with as a communications advisor role in several large organizations, and that was in the financial sector, nonprofit, and then eventually in the energy industry. And I did that for quite a long time, and I found that I wasn't really, I got tasked to do some interviewing of, these were internal interviews with employees to talk about why they do the work they do, why they chose these careers and so on. And I've always been very, very interested and very curious about what makes people tick and why they do what they do and how they ended up there, what their story is. And I found we got just amazing engagement with those stories on the internet and so on. And I also was finding that the traditional way of communicating wasn't something I really enjoyed. And I didn't think it was all that effective. It was more about the company and not really about the consumer. And so I wasn't that happy in my job at the time. And so I decided to go out on my own. And I think for once in my life, I was a little bit ahead of the curve and started writing about story, about what's your story and why do you do the work you do. And that's kind of how I started, and I've just continued with it for about the past 13, 14 years.
Yeah. Are you glad you took the leap?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would. I don't think I could go back to having a job. I that to me would be. I'm just not one of those people that belongs in a large organization or in an office. You know, I'm in spite of the fact that I'm talking away here, I'm quite introverted, and I really love working by myself. And I always found when I worked in large offices, it was really energy draining for me, and I could never understand why I was so unhappy. And I finally did a really valuable weekend workshop with someone who took you through uh, sort of what you were talking about, Brianne. You're looking at your strengths and you know what you're really good at. And what came out of it was that I was an introvert, and working in a large company was just a really bad place for me to be. And so I've been working on my own since.
What do you think of this work from home, work from anywhere phenomena, Brianne, where like before the lockdown came, were you working from an office?
Yeah, so our office used to be like off McKnight and Deerfoot, and it was all like individual offices. And in December, we moved to an open office with cubicles and yeah, a lot reduced our overall footprint, right? Like which a lot of companies do, save some rental costs. But the work from home abilities were really limited, and it depended on your department. So my group, we were always pretty flexible, especially because sometimes people were working on numbers and stats, and that's hard to do if you're hearing noise from everyone around you. Yeah, and I mean everyone in the company's in a cubicle, from the CEO right down to the customer service stuff, right? So it's and there are little breakout rooms to use, but that's not ideal. You don't want to be camped out in one of those all day. So our group was always comfortable with, you're working on whatever, stay home. That's fine, not a big deal. But a lot of other departments weren't. Like there was a pretty big culture of you have to be seen to be working. And so this is really, they can't bring everyone back into the office. We can't all stay 6 feet apart. So at this point, there's 20 people, I think, up to, and it's optional if people want to go in. There's a few people needed because they run classes, safety training classes. So there are a few people required to support that, but otherwise it's been really optional. And it looks like they won't return to making people go in all the time, which is great for me because I live like 45 minutes away from their new space. Yep. So I'm like, if I don't have to go in for meetings, that's fantastic. And they've been really flexible in terms of, yeah, if you have kids at home. And I mean, my husband does home renos, so it is just me and the kids at home. There's not a lot of other options. And we're fortunate, like both grandparents are retired, but obviously they're in the higher risk category for COVID. So we haven't seen other people, so that the kids can go to grandparents when I have a day of meetings or when I have some more stuff to do that I can't use my brain to interrupt every 3 minutes when somebody needs a snack. But I don't know what it'll look like come September. With schools opening back up, I'm excited that they're opening back up, but I'm not that sure that I'll be comfortable, or that our both sets of parents will be comfortable seeing the kids.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, because on a broader level, right? I see the conversation, and I'd love to get both your feedback. Is that it's actually recontextual. It's setting a new context for how we're going to meet, even if we have a meeting. So let's say we need to have listen, Brianne, Denise, we have to have a face-to-face meeting. I can't do this over Zoom. We have to get in a room together. We have to have a whiteboard. We have to have some dialogue. We really got to engage. What does that look like?
Yeah, I know. And it's, well, we're actually right now, like with our company, we're recording some podcasts. And so some of those are being recorded in person. And so the logistics to meet in person. And so then even it's only 2 people and they're sitting the 6 feet apart, and actually more than 6 feet apart. And that, like, but even the coordination for the people to get there is, you can't have we need to meet this afternoon. That can't happen anymore, because there's too many things that people have to sort out to be able to accommodate that, which is weird. It's just,
how does it work in your world, Denise? Because you deal more with contractors and individuals, and do you ever have cause where you have to physically meet with people?
No, it really hasn't, from that perspective, it hasn't impacted me at all. I've been able to conduct all my business virtually. And so I haven't physically met with a client since COVID started. And I'm fortunate that way. I can work remotely anywhere and do my work. And I've gone on holidays before and actually not told clients, and did what I needed to do from wherever. And so that hasn't been an issue for me at all.
Okay, let me ask the question a different way. Would you get on an airplane right now?
Would I?
Either, because there's no physical distancing on that thing, right?
Yeah. No, I'm at
Listen, you gotta go, and I'll create a scenario. Your daughter's sick in Toronto, you gotta go see her.
Yeah, well, eventually. She was just here a couple of weeks ago.
I know, but no, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm pushing you. You gotta go, you gotta get on the airplane.
I don't know. We're doing a trip to Vancouver at the end of August, so in like a month. And Kevin's like, I cannot believe that you're making me drive 10 hours with 2 kids. I'm like, oh yeah, we're not getting there.
Which is worse, 10 hours with 2 kids in the car, or an hour and 10-minute flight?
Yeah. And flights are so cheap right now that he's like, we could do it. And I'm like, yeah, and I think if it was just us, if I was just an adult alone, I could come with Lysol wipes, I could wipe down, I could wear a mask, I could wash my, like, I think I could be safe enough, but kids are gross. Like, kids are putting stuff in their mouths and they're touching things. And like the other day I walked in and Cameron was licking Nicholas's foot. Like, gross.
Well, like, how do you get them to wear a mask for however long? Yeah.
We went to the mall 2 weeks ago because Nicholas needed some shoes and I needed him to try them on. I was like, I'm not ordering like 8 different sizes and dealing with returns. And so I was like, you guys both have to wear masks. And so they were excited to wear the mask and put it on, and lasted about 3 minutes. And Cameron was like, this is hot. It's hot. I don't want to. And I was like, no, you have to keep the mask on. No, I don't. And then she'd point at other people not wearing masks and be like, they're not in one. I don't have to. I was like, no, you have to keep the mask on. Like, and Nicholas was pretty good about it, keeping the mask on and doing everything. And then I was saying to Cameron, putting her mask back on again, because she kept taking it off. And I said, we have to do this because you're protecting the people around you. And Nicholas was like, what? I'm like, Yeah, like it's making sure that if you were sick and we didn't know you're sick, you're not spreading it to other people. And he's like, isn't it protecting me? I was like,
Self-interest comes out. I love it.
Yeah.
but he was like, wait, I'm not wearing this for me. I was like, well, I mean, it'll help you a bit, but mostly you're so mad. Then he didn't want to wear it either. I was like, oh my goodness. So I can't even imagine trying to get them to wear something like that through the airport, onto the plane. Like, I have a hard enough time trying to get them not to play on the moving sidewalks constantly. And yeah, I don't know. No, not
It wouldn't be worth it.
If
Yeah.
I had to go to Toronto, we'd be driving still.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know that there's a resolution there, but there are conundrums to look at, right?
Did you fly when you went on your vacation, Adam?
No, no, we purposely we were taking, because we were stopping all along the journey, all the way out to Tofino and all the way back to visit different friends. So
Okay.
it was just my wife and I. So the purpose was to road trip and do all that kind of fun stuff.
And you went to Tofino for the first time, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing?
Oh man, words can't capture it. Just, you know, and I don't want to destroy paradise by sending everybody there, but man, I'm so glad I went.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, really.
Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful places I think I've ever been.
Oh,
yeah.
Magical. I can see why people fall in love with it.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing we can get into, the rabbit hole there. But I did want to ask you one other question that I think is, it's in my mind. How do you end it gracefully?
And
How
what?
do you which? Sorry?
End it. How do you end it gracefully? Let's say you have to end something. Let's say you have to end a relationship, or let's say you have to end, you know, you're no longer going to be at work, or something comes. We all have things that come to an end, right, Brienne?
Yeah.
We have things that come to an end for whatever reason, circumstances, whatever. How do you end it gracefully? This would be helpful to, I think, me and thousands of other people that listen in every week. How do you end it gracefully? What are your tips for how do you end it gracefully?
Are we talking work relationships or anything?
Anything. Denise, the field is open. What are your tips for ending it gracefully?
Always say it's not me, it's not me, it's you.
It's not me, it's you.
Yeah.
So we're ending it.
Yeah.
I love that one. It's so honest.
Yeah. No, sorry, I meant to say it's not you, it's me. But yeah, most of the time it's you. Wow. That's a really good question.
Right?
I think to end it gracefully, for me, it's usually paying attention to myself so that I still can end it gracefully. You know, you reach a point, usually you end things too late. I think you wait too long, you try too hard, then you end up carrying 2 kids football style out of the mall. Versus if you just paid attention to, 10 minutes before that when somebody got whiny and went, you know what, they are done and they can't make it through another store. So I think it's ending it gracefully. You need to pay attention to the cues and end usually earlier than people do.
Yeah, denial's a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one thing I think that's effective is just to be straight up about it, to not be unkind, of course.
Yeah.
But not to try and sugarcoat it or dance around it. Just be honest and straightforward and yeah, and in a kind way.
Well, it's definitely an inquiry and something to think about. So thank you both for your input. Last part of the show. This is one of my favorite parts, and it's the would you rather. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You're only allowed to give one answer. So if I say beer or wine, I don't need an explanation. I just need you to choose. So the first question, given the current state of affairs and the use of alcohol in our lives, it's Friday afternoon. beer or wine?
Wine.
Neither.
You say wine, you say
Neither.
neither. Okay, that's interesting. Neither or a highball?
Neither.
Neither.
Probably neither. I'm not going for highballs.
You're going to abstain. Okay, great. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, always.
Drip coffee or espresso coffee?
Espresso.
Yeah, espresso.
Okay. Paris or Venice?
Venice.
Yeah, Venice.
Okay. Venice or Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Venice.
Nice. Barcelona or New York?
Right now.
That's an easy one, right?
Yeah. Barcelona.
Okay. New York or LA?
New York.
Interesting. Beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Beaches.
Interesting. Cold and sunny or warm and cloudy?
Warm and cloudy.
Woman cloudy.
Interesting. All-inclusive resort or Airbnb?
Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnb.
Really? Interesting. City living or country living?
City.
City.
Me too. Friday night or Saturday night?
Saturday.
They both said Saturday. I love it. So good. Ladies, thank you so much for being so generous, sharing yourself so openly, giving us all kinds of great information. I look forward to following up with both of you at a separate time. Have a fantastic weekend, and thanks for being a part of Casual Friday.
Thanks, Adam. Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you, Brianne. Thanks, Adam.
You too.
Bye.